Did you see that?
I did.
I didn't want it. I want this one.
Well, you can.
Hi, everybody. It's Mel Dore, the Aloha Shirt computer illiterate psychic. I think I screwed up the intro, so I redid it.
It's all good.
Anyway, I've got the one, the only, the Kevin Chandler in the house. Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
And hey, everyone. It's good to be back with you, Mel. Glad that you're feeling better.
Thanks. I'm feeling a lot better. I still get tired,
Mm.
but and thanks to everybody in the community for all of your support. Um, I'm here. I'm kicking. Um, I'm going to have surgery, I think, at the end of June, beginning of July, because I don't want this to happen again.
Mm.
That's me playing with the lights. I think this lighting looks better. I don't want this to happen again. So everything has to heal. And then I was telling Kevin I lost about 18 pounds, but I gained about 4 or 5 back because I've been eating nothing but carbs like mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese. That's all I could eat. But I'm getting back to some foods with fiber now. But the doctor said just do it really slowly. So
Yeah, take your time with
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
for almost a week, for 3 days, I was nothing by mouth at all. Or
Mm.
4 days, and I was on liquids for a couple days.
Yeah.
Not those kind of liquids, okay?
It's tough too when you're not feeling good. And I had gallbladder issues in
Oh,
2020 and had my gallbladder removed. And they kept on postponing my surgery. So I hadn't eaten in like 2 days. I was starting to get a little angry. So I feel you. Probably not the easiest, but
uh,
we're all glad that you're back and that you're feeling better.
thanks, Kevin. I can never remember, and I'm not high drama about illnesses because I had cancer. I had
Yeah.
open heart surgery. Um, I can never remember being this sick. You
Yeah.
know, there were a couple of days when I didn't think I would make it. I mean,
Mm.
just the vomiting was alone was, oh my God.
Yeah.
And they told me
Well,
at the hospital if I would have waited another day or two, I would have died.
yeah.
I wasn't
Well,
septic. I was just going into sepsis.
especially if you're throwing up and you're all inflamed and everything's, all swollen and all that, I can't imagine that being fun.
Wasn't. They were giving me Zofran. They were giving me Dilaudid every 3 hours for pain. It was.
Mm.
I had 2 IVs going in my arm, 2 IV bags, two different antibiotics going.
Did
And
it
then
help with the pain at all?
when I
A
first went
little?
to the ER and they gave me the Dilaudid, um, it didn't do anything. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
give me enough. And then I said, I'm still having pain. And they gave me more Dilaudid. And that eased it a lot, but it was the most excruciating pain. I mean, I've had kidney stones, I've had open
Yeah.
heart surgery, I have oral cancer and all that, the surgeries. This was the most excruciating pain I've ever had. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh man. So,
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better now and it's not bothering you quite as
hey, and
much.
you look great.
Well, thanks.
You've lost a lot of weight. You're looking good.
I've lost some weight. Yeah.
Good for you. Uh,
Trying to focusing on my own, you know, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual wellness. So yeah, I have lost some weight. I'm feeling good, a lot lighter.
I was talking to a doctor friend of mine, and she's into oneness and all of that. And we were talking about medicine today, and we need Western medicine. We need all of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
I said, the focus is about, treating the illness to make somebody well, where it should be, treating the wellness to hopefully keep illness from happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of see a switch in that. So let's see.
And I think more people are being open-minded to, you know, um, other alternative healing techniques and medicines too.
Well, I think we need all of it.
Yeah. I think they complement each other very well.
I agree. Um, I haven't watched much news, but as everybody knows, April 2nd is going to be a great day for America. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's been a great day today, right?
Uh,
Yesterday and today.
well, yeah, the stock market's dip.
Hmm.
You know, my feeling is Trump's reasoning behind this, if he can think that far ahead,
Hmm.
is just like he did with businesses. He forces other businesses to negotiate with him
Hmm.
so he can have control. So all these tariffs is nothing more than a power grab by Donald Trump because he's thinking that he can force them to negotiate with him. And then that puts him in control and it puts a lot of money in his own pocket. He's
Oh
making
yeah,
he's making millions and millions on this. And that's why he's doing it. It's not for the good of America. It's to
yeah.
fatten his own pocketbook.
Oh, absolutely. Him and his friends, getting the stocks to go down so they can buy it up cheaper, and then it go back up, and they, sell it, make a profit.
It's one big cluster, you know what? And I,
Yeah,
I just saw before we started, there were a couple countries whose names I won't mention that said that they would negotiate with them on the tariffs because they didn't want to hurt their economy. And I'm like, no, those countries need to do what Canada and Mexico are doing and saying, middle finger, Donald, you
yeah,
want to bully us. It's not going to work because we're not going to kowtow to your bullying. And I
yeah.
think these countries where he's imposing these tariffs, they need to stand up to his bullying and
Hmm.
say, absolutely not. You're gonna you're gonna, put tariffs on us. Well, we're gonna double the tariffs that
Yeah.
you're that we're gonna send to you, Donald. That
And
would
you're going to
stop
see a
a
lot
lot.
of countries doing that too. I do feel like it's the next week or two. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, and get a bit ugly. I don't feel the tariffs in this whole trade war going on for too long. I feel like at some point Donald Trump will fold on it because he's
Well,
not going to get his way.
I see some whistleblowers coming forward at some point. I got to stop saying at some point, a lot sooner
Hmm.
than later, to say, wait a minute, there's proof here that he did this. And you hit it, Kevin, to manipulate the stock market to make it
Hmm.
go way low. Then they could buy up a bunch of stock when it's low. And then when the prices go back up, dump it back on the market and make
Yeah.
buku money. Um, but the question is, who's going to do anything? Because Pam Bondi's not going to.
Oh,
Kim
right.
Bell's not going to do anything. But I think once the Dems take back over the House and the Senate at midterms, I see articles of impeachment against Trump again. So that'd be the third time he's impeached.
Yeah. It's interesting. How do you feel like the Republican Party is feeling right now? They just had their elections on Tuesday, which did not go well for them at all. They're all pissed off at Elon. Now Trump's trying to tank the economy. I feel like there's going to be some Republicans that really stand up and start to kind of distance themselves from Trump.
I've been saying that for a long time that there's going to be some
Hmm.
Republicans that'll finally grow a set and say, we've had it. I thought that one House seat in Florida would go dim, but it didn't. I
Mm.
was wrong about that. And if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But I
Yeah,
was right in Wisconsin because I knew that I can't think of her name, but she's a Democrat too.
Crawford.
Yes, that
Hmm.
she would be elected to the Supreme Court up there, which will change a lot of things. And I've been
Yeah.
saying I see Wisconsin turning purple and blue again. They used to be the most progressive state in the union before Scott Walker took office up there,
Mm.
and then he screwed it up. Well, I see
Yeah.
them going back to becoming blue again.
Yeah. I'll say I was feeling hopeful with the Florida elections a couple of days before the elections, and I said it on my Tuesday show. I did not feel like they were gonna feel like the Republican was going to win. But you have to think about it too. Those were heavily Trump districts. He won them by over 30 points, and Democrats were able to cut it in half. So, I mean, there's still big momentum, I think, that we were picking up on. And even if, the Republican won, it's really not the Republican Party's freaking out over it.
The Republicans didn't really lose anything in the House, but on the same token, they didn't gain anything.
Well, right. Well, but also too, they're going to be thinking a little bit more carefully with I mean, we're still a while away from midterms, and I feel a lot of things changing before then, but um but they're thinking about, their future and their career as well. And if they're in a district that Trump won in the 2024 election by 10 points or less, I mean, I think that they're going to be freaking out over that Florida race.
Well, what about Lisa Stefanik? I say Stefanik. I think it's
Yeah,
Stefanik.
Elise Stefanik's. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he was going to put her with something in the United Nations. I forget. But then all of a sudden, no, we're withdrawing it because we want you, in New York, we want you to hang on to your seat in the House because they knew this all along.
I think it would have went blue. I was saying that.
It would have flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But I still see some more House seats becoming vacant. I don't know how, but I see it.
Yeah.
I've got an infomercial real quick. I do have openings on my trip going to Iceland. So everybody please sign up. It's going to be a phenomenal trip. And I have openings going to Peru in September. Iceland's going to be a neat trip. A lot of people are fearful of traveling overseas, but I've talked to a lot of travelers who just got back from overseas. I've got a lot of friends who are pilots, a lot of friends who are flight attendants. I know a lot of people overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all telling me that the people overseas are treating Americans wonderfully. And it's safe to travel there.
Mm-hmm.
But, they don't agree with Trump. But they genuinely feel bad for what's happening in America. And they're assured that the majority of us can't stand Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that in Europe.
Yeah.
And so I think that many of them are empathizing with the majority of us. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think probably a lot of Trump's cult base is probably not doing a lot of domestic travel or international travel. Do you think?
Well, a lot of Europeans
so.
and Canadians, right? Here's to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Elbows up. Yay,
Yeah.
Canada. Keep up the good work, Canada. I think, a lot of Canadians and a lot of people from Europe are not going to come here for a vacation.
Yeah.
And I predict psychically it's going to crash the tourism industry in Florida. And so they're going to be hurting a lot of the tourist states here that rely on tourism. And I do think it's going to have an effect on tourism in Hawaii. And I love Hawaii. And Hawaii is a democratic state. However, it's really going to hurt the economy of Hawaii. But I think the governor in Hawaii is going to come forward and say, we welcome Europeans to Hawaii, give them maybe special hotel deals to come and visit Hawaii. So the Hawaiian government will be very creative in getting people to go to the islands and really have the true aloha spirit. So that's my prediction. But the travel industry in this country, people coming to visit this country, is going to crash because of what Trump is doing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, it's going to hurt a lot of businesses here. And I think you're right. I see a lot of Republicans coming up and saying, wait a minute, we're tired. There already is a Republican organization called Principles First it's growing in momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And they're anti-Trump. And a lot of Democrats are siding with this Principles First. Read about it. It's pretty cool. Now, I'm a Democrat, but they talk about integrity and bringing all of that back.
Were you talking about a Republican group or a Democratic group?
It's a Republican group, but they're not elected Republican officials.
Yeah.
But they put it together, and it's called Principles First.
Okay. I'll look into that. Oh, I know a lot of, even like in the Libertarian Party, they're not a huge fan of Trump.
Glenn Kirshner spoke at Principles First. I mean, that's how I found out about it, and I started researching it. So I see them growing huge. But once Trump is gone, and I don't see Trump finishing his full term in office, nor do I see Shady Vance as president.
I agree.
But that brings up a question. People are nervous about Trump saying that he wants a third term, and they're speculating on ways he can do it. I don't see that happening, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious what you think about it or what you see.
No. Well, and I agree with you too when you're talking about, tourism for the states crashing. And obviously, I think the next couple of months it's going to be um, a bit heavy. I think a lot of us been saying, March, April, May is going to be some heavy months. But I don't even feel like he's going to be in there for another year, to be honest with you.
Good.
Um, and I agree with you. I don't feel JD Vance in there too. I kind of feel like he's out before there's a lot of long-term damage to the economy. That's kind of how I'm picking it up. Um, so he won't be around to do a third term. They wouldn't be able to do it anyway. I don't see the courts going into that, and it has to be approved. What, a change to the Constitution? You need the House and the Senate, like a 2/3 margin to approve
And
that.
you need X amount of states. I think is it 2/3 of the states voting to do it as well.
Do you? Okay. So
I
yeah, I mean, I don't. We know that he likes to, abuse the executive, and he thinks he's a king in there. But we're already starting to see the Supreme Court starting to stand up against him. I don't see that would stand.
But my question is, who's going to
Mhm.
enforce it? Because the courts can't enforce. They can, but what are
Mhm.
they going to do? Order the marshals to get him? But he controls the marshals. Like, for example, that Judge Bauberg, I forget his name, but he wanted to find out, he ordered those planes that were taking those people to El Salvador without
Yeah,
their
I heard about that.
to bring them back. And
Mhm.
Trump went ahead and did it anyway.
Mhm.
So the judge is thinking about holding him in contempt. And I see that whole rule changed. It's not a law, it's just a matter of protocol that says that you can't indict a sitting president.
Mhm.
You know, at least that's the rhetoric they used when Trump was supposed to get indicted first a couple times around. But I see that rule being changed. Like if a president futuristically defies a court order, and Trump is trying to do it under the Enemies Act, which is BS. My
Mhm.
feeling is the court can come up and say, no, he is in contempt. It is criminal. And there's to be mechanisms put in place to make sure then that the executive branch complies with the
Yeah.
judicial.
Well, and it kind of puts us in a, like I said, I don't feel him being around to even be for a third term. So I do not feel that at all. But it is kind of him overreaching with his powers. It is kind of putting us in that constitutional
Abuse of
crisis.
power.
Yeah.
And,
Abuse
it
of power.
puts us
Yeah.
and I think we're already in a
I
constitutional crisis.
agree.
And I think Trump wants to, create these tariffs, and he wants to create chaos.
Hmm.
If he can do that, then he thinks he's going to get control. But I want
Hmm.
to tell you something. Any of those countries that's going to negotiate with them on these tariffs, I will refuse to buy their products.
Yeah.
They need to.
I don't feel it's going to be a lot of people negotiating with him. Like I said, I feels like he has to fold his hand because he didn't get his way.
I agree.
Hmm.
Becky,
Stomping off and having a tantrum is kind of the energy I see
hold on.
him getting into from it. Yeah.
Becky Gilberto's in the house, and she
Hey,
says,
Becky.
"Hi, guys. Change my handle from Rebecca Gilberto. Love this handle so much.
Oh.
Becky BKMG. I love it. So
She
hi,
gave
Becky.
you a shout out on your trips too.
Oh, thanks, Becky. Becky comes with us, and she's so much fun to travel with. And Becky sent me some tart cherry juice that's supposed to help with gout, and I have been drinking it religiously. So
Mm.
thank you, Becky. And I want to say thanks to all the people who donated. And I'm still going through cards. I had a stack of them like this.
Oh, I
So
bet. I believe it.
it meant a lot. And here's somebody who says hello from Ohio.
Hey, neighbor.
Uh, somebody says, hi, Becky. What's BKMG?
Mm.
Okay.
Well, I
Star.
have some questions starred in the chat. We did get a couple super chats too, so I want to say thank you
Oh,
to
I didn't
Rose
see that. Oh,
Blues
thanks, Rose Blue.
and Susie Cat. Thank you so
Uh,
much.
hey, Susie. Thank you. Okay, so let's go with the stars, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Julie Short says, it's just me. Hi, just
No.
me.
No, is it just me?
Oh,
She's
is it
asking a
Disney? I'm
question.
sorry.
Yeah.
For the first time in months, I can feel the ugly, dark energy dissipate.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't,
go ahead, Kevin.
well, I'll say like the last couple weeks, we had the eclipse, a lot of solar flares, the Schumann resonance has kind of been on and off the charts. I have not been sleeping good. I felt the energy starting to dissipate, but last night I didn't sleep good again. So I don't know. It's kind of like a energetic whiplash that we're all going through.
I say it like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it brings me to that dream I had when Ruth Bader Ginsburg came to me, and she showed this tiny little flicker of light, just tiny.
Mm,
It started to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and this dark hand, ugly hand, this darkness pushed it back, and the light got bigger and bigger, and the darkness pushed it back, and it
mm,
got tiny again and even tinier, almost like it was going to be extinguished, but there was a little glow. And that glow would get larger and smaller and larger and smaller. But each time it got pushed back, it got
got
larger.
bigger. Hmm.
So the light will prevail.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to happen now as I see psychically. I am intuiting there's going to be a lot of whistleblowers coming forward. Washington is going to leak like a sieve. Um, and there's going to be whistleblowers that'll come forward to say, what he was planning to do with these tariffs, all kinds of stuff coming out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even the signal gate is there's more and more being exposed about them using apps to communicate classified
Oh, I know.
information.
If a
Yeah.
Democrat had done any of that, they would have been screaming bloody murder.
No, I mean, look at we're still hearing about Hillary and her emails and Hunter Biden's laptop.
There you go.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, we've already touched on this one. Helen, I cannot, let's see, Rajesh, Rajesh
Mm.
sorry, Helen, about the pronunciation. Hello, Mel and Kevin. Why is he doing this with the tariffs? This is a Ponzi scheme. It's not a Ponzi scheme, but Trump and his wealthy friends benefit. He's greasing his pockets with the money he's making. And Kevin
Mm.
hit on it. Look at how the market's falling.
Yeah.
And then, they'll buy the stocks real low. And then when they come up, they'll dump them back in the market. They'll
Yeah.
make a gazillion dollars on this. But
But I agree with you too, though. It's because he's a bully and it's, you know, um, needing to be in control to make some kind of deals,
it's
so that he
exactly why he's doing
power.
it. He's
Yeah.
trying to force them to
I think it's
negotiate.
both.
But you know what, Kevin? There might be a couple countries that will, but as we said earlier, it's going to blow up in his face.
Absolutely. And I see it kind of, we've been chatting about this since we've done shows together, the fracturing of the Republican Party. But it's continue to kind of fracture off. You have a lot of people that are no longer in the party that stood up to Trump. But
Well, you're
there's
right.
more coming on now because he's just so much. He has nothing more to lose this time around.
It did fracture,
Hmm.
and the Republican Party should now be called the MAGA Party.
Yeah.
Uh, but I still agree with you psychically in that there's going to be a lot of Republicans coming out that'll grow a set and
Hmm.
will, dig their heels in against Trump.
Yeah. I feel that there's a lot of fear in the Republican Party after the elections, and even I felt with the election, Elon was going to be to blame, and we had chatted for a while now about their relationship, Trump and Elon's relationship starting to fizzle out and turn on one another, and I feel like we're about to witness that too.
Oh, that's starting to simmer.
Hmm.
Well, then
Absolutely.
Trump can blame everything on Elon. Elon Musk did it. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Donald, you were in the president's chair. Why
Yeah.
did
It's
you
not
let
going
him?
to work.
Right.
And we're going to continue to see. I've said with the heavy energy, I just feel a lot of anger and people standing up. We have protests going on, and you know, more and more of his base is going to start to get pissed off and wake up through the damage that he's causing in their lives, their families' lives. Um, but it's just like it's going to continue. It's like this boiling point where this energy is just going to explode at some point.
I hear an absolute yes to that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good one. Northern Lights. Hello, Northern Lights. How are you? Is Trump going to dissolve unions? That's a good one.
I
I'm
see
here.
them definitely trying, and they have
Right.
plans to do so. I don't see them being successful with that.
I was going to say the same thing. I see him trying, but
Hmm.
the unions will fight back.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you who's going to become super strong when Citolini's in office. I call him DIC, Dictator in Chief. You guys can sound it out on your own. I'm not going to. um, anyway, I see the Civil Liberties Union, a lot of organizations standing up and filing lawsuits against him,
Mm,
massive protests in the streets. And when Trump says, I'm going to make the economy better, now it's just be patient, be patient. You know, this is the best thing for America. No, Donald, it's the worst thing for America, but it's the best thing for you to put money in your pocket.
right.
But I see a point in time when, you know, as I said, legislation passed, it'll make the shenanigans he's pulling illegal. So,
Absolutely.
okay,
I love the
Melanie,
comments in the chat.
what are the? I'm not reading them. So,
Well, we don't have to say it. I don't know if we'll get censored if we post it up here. Barbara says perfect. DIC.
Dictator in chief.
Yes.
Thank you, Melanie, for the $20.
Mm,
Dolores, thank you.
yes, thank you.
All right. How Lawrence? I can't see the Lawrence. Lawrence. Hello,
Mm,
Lawrence. How long will the tariffs last? About as long as a snowball in Hades, as we say in the South.
mm,
Not
yeah.
long. What do you think, Kevin?
I feel like they may continue for the next like month or two. I'm feeling like maybe 3 months tops. It feels like the next couple months are a bit heavy with it, and then I see it, like
It's
I
going to
said, him
put us
folding.
into huge recession, huge, and it's going to continue to affect the stock market long after these tariffs are taken off because Wall Street's going to be fearful of what Trump will do. So it's going
Well,
to,
and not even just that though, too. I mean, a lot of, you start getting back and forth with countries about putting tariffs on, and other countries are doing the same. Just because Trump folds doesn't mean that they give up their tariffs.
and
It's
it
going to be a
also
mess for a little bit.
and it also means that as long as he's in office, they're going to be fearful of doing business with us.
Yeah.
Focus on Canada for a moment. I love that new prime minister there. He's really cool, and he's
Hmm.
going to win again. I call the Polyveer or whatever that MAGA maple is. Polly Parrot, I call him. He's not going
Yeah.
to win. This guy that's I can't think of his name, but this prime minister now will stay in power. And I like this guy, this prime minister in Canada, because he's standing up against Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I see a time when, um, once Trump is out of office, I don't know, some kind of treaties or something to keep a rogue president like Trump from uh, turning our backs on our friends again.
Mhm.
I don't see it ever happening again.
Well, I
Trump,
think it's going to, and part of Trump's mission with being in there is to really highlight and put a spotlight on all of the areas that we need to protect for our Constitution and for our democracy. And I do see them kind of reigning the powers of presidents and requirements to be fit to be president. They're gonna redo a lot of that.
absolutely. I
Mhm.
hallelujah. I hear a yes to that as well.
Mark Carney is the new prime minister.
Yeah, Carney, he is amazing. And so, this is a hockey term. It means like winning or whatever.
Hmm.
But elbows up to our Canadian friends. And I see a point in time when, uh, well, we're still friends with our Canadian brothers and sisters, but I see a point in time when our governments will be amicable again and a treaty signed to prevent these a president here from imposing these sorts of tariffs on Canada.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's our trade partnerships with our allies, but also, I don't think a lot of our allies are really trusting with him being president for sharing intelligence and military information and all of that too. So it's going to take a while after Trump's out to rebuild that trust.
My God, the military information alone that he's given to Putin,
Yeah.
that's enough to, Linda Grendel keeps saying that he's going to come up for treason, and I
Oh
agree
yeah.
with him.
hmm Well, and I think it clearly shows you know Trump's agenda is, I think, the only major country that did not get um, a trade war, a tariff was Russia. So I don't know how much trade we're doing with Russia anyway, but
Well, I'm sure that Poopkin is getting a lot of gold from Trump.
yeah. Well, what do you feel about Putin? Because I feel like him leaving. I feel like that car attempt, and I'll be careful with the words that I say just to kind of filter myself. But I feel like that was an inside job from the Kremlin, and I feel like his time is not for very long.
I don't see him in office very long either.
Yeah.
I see a coup there.
hmm
But I intuit that when I say I intuit, I mean I predict, I see that he's isolating himself more and more.
Yeah.
Um, and people are getting tired of being pushed out first floor windows.
Yeah. Well, that's it too. I mean, at some point, everybody's losing their money. All of the families are losing their men in their families. There's a massive protest going on in Russia. They're not covering it on the news, but I've seen quite a few things on YouTube showing the protests. Um, yeah, I mean, at some point, everybody that's close to Putin, when they can't trust him, they have to worry about their own safety. Like I said, maybe they put something explosive in a vehicle, or they try to protect themselves before he gets them.
uh, you know, um, my friends from Russia tell me there are indeed a lot of protests going on
Yeah,
there. And I see massive protests here and also in Israel. And I see
it's
many in
global.
Lugan as well.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
a
like the fact that,
collective global energy that we're
Cory
going
Booker
through.
is really starting to speak up.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Um, and who's the one? I just love her. She is a firecracker.
Jasmine Crockett.
Yes, I
hmm
love her. She's gonna be. You ain't seen nothing yet with her. Boy, she's really gonna climb up the ranks.
Absolutely.
Good.
AOC and Bernie with their tours.
Oh my goodness.
Tim Walz is doing a lot of
I have
tours too.
predicted there's going to be a lot of Democrats coming to the forefront that are going to be really mouthy and fiery.
hmm
I'm
A
not
lot
saying
of new
Kamala
new
wasn't.
leadership. hmm
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
interjecting new blood, and that's what we need.
Well, they're really meeting the time and the urgency of the situation. So I
Absolutely.
do feel like, some of the older leaders that have been in place, I do feel like there's starting to be a transition to a more fiery Democratic Party.
That's what we need.
We're going to get our spines back.
Well, I like the way you put that. I would have said another part of the anatomy, but we can say spine. I
We
would
can
say
say
go further
spine.
south.
That's all right.
Uh, what's south of spine? I don't
Uh,
know.
you're right.
It's not an anatomy lesson, folks.
Mm,
Virgo Animal Whisperer. Alert. Friends are getting blocked on Facebook for voicing their feelings about F-45. The stinky one.
mm.
Is freedom of speech done? No, it is not, nor is freedom of the press. Now,
And
what
I
do
think we're going to get into a big situation where, Trump and his administration is really starting to try to limit our freedom of speech. We're going to see more protests, and I feel, even, well, these students that he's trying to deport and get rid of. Um, there's going to be a lot of cases, and it will, I feel, eventually go to the Supreme Court where they will uphold the freedom of speech.
um, now what they can fall back on with a lot of the social media platforms is say they're privately owned and they have the right to put up whatever they want. But the flip side of that would be okay, but yet you let this side put up whatever they want, but this side you won't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be huge lawsuits, civil suits, but ultimately the court will say, no, if you're going to make it public, a public venue, then people have the right to freedom of speech.
Yeah.
It did ban Trump from Twitter before. And
Yeah.
I think that they're going to try to ban YouTube people like us from speaking
Mm-hmm.
up. But we can do it in code.
Yeah, we have to be careful with with some words, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, so no,
Well, and we have to be careful too, because I do think that somebody disagrees with your politics or your predictions, and then they try to flag you. I've heard of somebody that just lost their YouTube channel right before they got to monetize it. So
because of their political beliefs, or give me
well,
a general.
technically they had a tarot card where there was a little bit of nudity, but she thinks that she was flagged because they didn't care for her political beliefs and her psychic opinions, predictions.
Well, they're gonna start going after people though that would be more of the bigger people.
Mm-hmm. So
On
we just have to be careful.
us, like what's the young man's name? His last name's Cohen. I can never remember his first name. Are people like Lynn Kirshner and things like
Mm-hmm.
that before they hit us? But I think they probably will start flagging things, so we just need to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll still have freedom of press and we'll still have freedom of speech.
Yeah, I agree.
And if they try that, what'll happen is there'll be another platform that'll come along, something like YouTube, you know, like with Twitter went to X when Musk bought it, and now there's another one called Sky Blue, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that one's growing in leaps and bounds. So if they try to censor us, there'll be another platform that'll come along where we can still keep our voice.
Well, right. And then it just shows you too when they are flagging people for, speaking their truth, then those are not companies that we need to support,
Correct. I agree. Okay, here we go.
The blue sky.
This is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly Cross says, will the tariffs actually begin on April 9th, or will Trump decide to postpone them again? That's a good question.
Oh, they don't start till the 9th?
Right. They didn't start right away. Well, I'm seeing if they happen on the 9th, and I doubt it, I see another postponement
Mm-hmm.
because there's going to be such pushback from these other countries, like the European Union. That's a whole group of countries alone. And they're going to say, what the hell are you doing, Donald, to us? I see the pushback on those countries, and he'll need to think twice about it.
Yeah.
I
feel I'm getting like combative, so there's still a bit of defiance there, but kind of holding on to. So there may be a delay. He's just out there, being that bully, trying to pick a fight. I don't know. I'm feeling like there might be a delay too.
All right. By the way, I gotta say, everybody try. My skin was so dry in the hospital. When I got home, I got my good old Andro plus Nikki, Andro plus Nikki, Niki. And check it out. I think the website is Andro dash Nikki, Niki.com. Stuff is great. I started putting it on my skin again, and wow, it's incredible. So you got to check it out. Just a little, I don't get paid for that. It's just great stuff, and I love it.
Yeah, share it.
It was started by my friend Andrew, and I predict it's going to do very well. It's a great, great product or products. So check it out, everybody. Okay.
Can I pull up a question real quick, Mel?
You can do anything you want.
All right. What's your feeling about What's your feeling about the protest? Like, what energy are you picking up with the protest? I think it's April 5th. I think it's this weekend. I did a reading on it earlier, and I felt like, and I keep getting this warning every time I read on protests, but I feel like there may be some kind of violence, or I kept on getting the tower with it. So something big and unexpected. So
Well,
everybody, if you do plan to protest, please use your intuition and be safe.
I pick up that I'll just call him M.
Mhm.
We'll try that, absolutely. But here again, according to the Constitution, people have the right, the freedom of assembly
Mhm.
and the freedom of peaceful protest. They also have the right to criticize the government without fear of reprisal from
Mhm.
the government. So if M tries that, and my feeling is he will, there will be lawsuits filed out the yin yang that ultimately will go to SCOTUS, and
Yeah.
SCOTUS is going to say it's unconstitutional for him to do that and tell him to cease and desist. His downfall will come soon. This whole Doge thing I see is going to be dismantled.
Yeah. Well, I think they're saying that he's out. I think his contract's up in May, and Trump's already telling the cabinet he's going to be gone soon. The thing is, I don't condone destroying property, but I'm very much one for peaceful protests and speaking your truth too. But I don't really see how Trump can come after people or really do anything. He can. I guess he can sue people if they destroy his property, and he has proof of that. But besides that, what can he do?
Right.
And a lot of people in the chat are kind of nervous about and getting some dark intuitive hits about the protests too. And that was kind of my feeling.
If there's violence, it would be violence because for entertainment purposes only, there were agitators sent in to try to create violence.
Yeah.
But now the protest, what is a protest for? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, I don't remember. Somebody in the chat will tell us.
But I'm seeing that there's going to be multitudes of people and protesting all over the country.
Yeah. Well, we dealt with this his first term, remember? When Antifa was looting all the stores and catching buildings on fire and destroying everything,
Well, he'll blame everybody else. He'll
I
blame
know.
a woke. He'll blame whatever.
Yeah.
But it's his own agitators.
Yes. Hands off our democracy. Thank
Okay.
you, G.
So the bottom line is, I see people psychically. I see people protesting across the entire country in mass.
Yeah.
So if the M1 or 45 Citolini tries to go after all of those people, you can't go after all of those people. You can, but where are you going to put them?
Yeah.
And so how can you go after 51% of the country? People are going to be protesting in mass. I'm telling you.
Well, and I think you have quite a few people that actually voted for Trump. I mean, a lot of veterans are Republicans, and they're being hurt right now. You have a lot of seniors that are scared and that maybe voted Republican. So I think it's even more than just
right.
Those that voted for the Democrats.
Oh, it's not all. It's just not all Democrats.
Like I said, it's going to continue to kind of build. Now there'll be some people that will be on the Trump train forever. They're just delusional like that. But
well, right, they drank the Kool-Aid. But
yeah, they drink the Kool-Aid.
well, some of them didn't drink the Kool-Aid. They just believe the way that he believes. But what I see with these protests is this is a bellwether of future protests, and I see them. These are going to be huge.
I agree.
The ones coming. But then I see like a little snowball, and what happens is it rolls down the hill, it gets larger and larger and creates this huge avalanche. And that's what I see happening. I see protest happening on a regular basis, and them getting larger and larger. So people aren't going to get burnt out on the protest. Their anger is fueling them, and they're going to go out there and protest.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark says 1,000 location protest. Even a small city near me is doing a protest in their downtown.
That's my point. And they're going to, and where they're saying 1,000 location protests now, at some point I see it going up to 10,000 or more.
Yeah,
We'll see. Now,
I almost
locations.
I almost feel though, like I think that there's going to be good turnout for these protests because people are pissed off about what he's doing with this trade war and in the stock market going down too.
There you go. I mean,
Hmm.
people have had it with, like, I see a lot of seniors going to protest again in front of Social Security offices. Senior
Absolutely.
citizens, Democrats and Republicans alike are
Hmm.
protesting. Look at what's happening in the town halls. Donald, you need to listen to your constituents, you know? Thank you, Susie Cat Person. Oh, Susie Cat Person from
Hmm.
Baltimore.
Thank you, Susie.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, and we're also getting into warmer weather now too, where more people are going to go out. That's a good point. Somebody in the chat just made.
exactly.
Hmm.
Will M be held accountable for corruption and election interference? Well, I foresee there's already countries who are forbidding him in there and forbidding him to try to buy elections.
Mm.
What I do see coming is legislation passed in this country so that one person or these mega corporations can no longer buy the elections by donating huge sums
Yeah.
or by forming political action committees to a candidate to try to buy the election. So I see legislation coming after Cheetolini is out of office to prevent this sort of thing from ever happening again.
Hmm.
What do
Well,
you
and
think?
I think we're going to hear about the election interference, and it doesn't feel like it's too far off. Maybe in the next few months. I still feel like it's being looked at. Um, every time I look into Elon Musk, well, first off, all of his companies are tanking because people hate him um, and what he stands for. But also, too, I see Elon like having to flee. Like it feels like a mob's coming after him with pitchforks and torches, and like he flees the country. Is what
Like
I
the
always
movie
kind of see with Elon. Yeah,
is that a flash from like the movie Frankenstein?
maybe. Yeah, but I see him like terrified, like running for his life.
I see at some point they'll kind of want him to send go back to South Africa. I
Mhm.
do see him under investigation and I see indictments coming there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can call him Fleon from now on. I like that, Mark.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I gotta write that. Can I use that? Fleon.
Yeah,
Like
we'll see.
Cheetolini, one of our subscribers called him Cheetolini. So
Mm,
Fleon. I like that. That was good, Kevin.
yeah. Well, I didn't come up with it. I give it to Mark. He
Oh,
said it,
oh,
but I like that. That
hey,
can be his new
Mark.
code name.
Good shot, buddy. Okay, so that's what we're going to refer to him as Fleon and Cheetolini. So we won't get in
Cheetolini.
trouble. Okay.
Can I pull up this question? I haven't.
Yeah, just let me put this up real
Oh, go
quick.
ahead.
You don't mind? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
okay. Layla, right?
do you feel the people that were sent to the prisons in El Salvador would they be released and returned to their families?
The answer is yes. It's going to take some time.
Mm,
I mean, well, what he's trying to do is keep them there for life without due process by saying they're terrorists, but even terrorists have a trial.
yeah.
Um, how
I
can
feel like some will come back, but I do feel like some won't be able to.
how can a Venezuelan hairstylist with a tattoo, a gay
Mm,
Venezuelan hairstylist, be a member of a vicious gang? They knew he wasn't. They just rounded up people who had tattoos.
yeah.
What about the guy who had an autistic brother? And I saw the tattoo. It was like a ribbon, and it was for in honor of his brother. He got sent to El Salvador.
Mm.
People like that I see being freed.
Well, I think there was a Maryland man that was actually a citizen that was deported as
Yeah.
well. And now they can't find him to bring him back. I do feel like there will be some that are returned. It will take a while, but I do feel like there will be some that are like lost
Don't
as they
kid
kind of
yourself,
go.
Kevin. They know where he's at. They're just
I
not
know.
saying anything.
Yeah.
By the way, this is April is Oral Pharyngeal Cancer Awareness Month. And as someone who has survived oropharyngeal cancer,
Mhm.
any of the donations made tonight, I will donate to Rush. They've just affiliated with MD Anderson, and now they're in the top three, I think, or maybe one or two cancer research and treatment institutions in the country.
Mm.
So this is Oral Cancer Awareness Month. So,
Oh, I love that. Thank
and
you
I
for
want
doing
to
that.
say
Wow.
hi to Jeffrey Stein because he had oral cancer as well, and he's a
Mm.
survivor. So everybody, thanks for your donations. Here's what I wanted to put up. This is so cool. Rose Blue said, send sardines to Cheetolini to pay the Arctic penguins tariff.
I love it.
You know, maybe everybody should do that. Send sardines.
Mm. I'm sure he would love that.
He'd probably put them in the rose garden.
Probably smell better
It's
than
not there anymore.
yeah.
Well, it would have probably made the courtroom smell nicer, that's for sure.
And I think they were just talking about taking down I think it was a cherry tree or a cherry blossom tree that's been there since Andrew Jackson. So like 100 years, well over 100 years.
I see the rose garden put back once they're out of there.
Yeah.
Jackie Onassis planted,
Yeah.
Jackie Kennedy planted that rose garden.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Kathy Reagans is in the house. Wonderful gentleman of the light. What do you see for Dr. Oz, confirmed for Medicare Medicaid director?
Mm.
Well, he's no, for entertainment purposes only. He's sold a lot of snake oil on TV. So
Yeah. Let me throw a card on it. I feel like
I
he's
got a
going to
feeling
probably
he'll
get through.
I got a feeling he'll get confirmed, and then
Mm.
the administration can use him to try to cut Medicaid even more. But remember this, Medicare is not an entitlement. We pay for that. I pay for Medicare every month, so it's not an entitlement.
No. Well, yeah, it is an entitlement because we're entitled to it because we put all the money into it.
Correct.
It's not a handout.
It's not a handout. That's right.
Yeah. I do feel like he'll be confirmed. I get the Page of Pentacles, which would be offered something. But it's actually kind of interesting because I feel he won't be in good standings with Trump. You have the Five of Cups and the Emperor. So there's disappointment there with the relationship. Like he's not getting the accolades that he wants.
Okay. There you go. Oh no, it's gonna, these people aren't realizing that what's going to do to their political careers once Trump and Shady Vance are out of office. Because, I think you're right. The Republican Party is already imploded, but there's going to be a lot of Republicans like with this Principle First, the new breed of Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get their heads together and the Democrats as well and bring our freedoms back, like women's right to choose or a lot of the other freedoms that they tried to take away.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
people like Dr. Oz or, Fleon, a lot of those people, they've got to realize that Kristi Noem, a lot of these people, after all this, they're gonna be dunks. They're gonna be zero in politics because Republicans or Democrats alike aren't going to want to deal with them.
Oh, absolutely.
They're too.
And I feel some of them, I do feel like they'll be. I felt like it before the election, but I feel a lot of them, having jail sentences and.
I see it. Kevin, I see the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Moses might be forced out as Speaker of the House. I see him gone as Speaker of the House.
I feel like they're going to flip on him here sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I've always said I felt like he was going to be out before his term was up. It didn't happen the last time, but
there you go.
No, I feel like there's going to be a big fracture in the party happening like very, very soon. Yeah, there's job loss there. That's being forced out in the cold, feeling defeated, betrayed, people working against him being successful. I do feel like I feel like he'll be outed. Can you imagine? Trump would actually probably like it because the Republicans can't come together to do anything. So without a Speaker of the House, he can continue.
Well, they would put one in, but it would be somebody even more MAGA than Moses.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying they're not doing their jobs right now anyway. Trump is calling all the shots and doing everything. So he'd
Well,
probably love it if there
even
wasn't a speaker.
even when Biden was president after the midterms, when the Republicans took over the House, Trump was running it then. The
Mhm,
whole Biden's presidency, Trump was trying to run the House, at least on the Republican side.
mhm. Yeah. I
Um,
see him out here sooner rather than later.
okay. This is a good one here. Never too late to dream. Oh, I like that. Hello, Kevin and Mel. A stock market crash is technically a 20% drop. Will that happen? 16% more. I do see a big, big drop coming in the not so distant future. And I don't know, it will recover, but not to the extent that people would like. So I can see it. I mean, it didn't drop 16% yet. I mean, it's
No,
down, way down, but I see it going down more.
I see it going down more, but I don't see it a crash.
Well, I see 16% or more at some point. So, um, and when things like that start happening, because these tariffs, everything that Cittadini is doing, it's really gonna, I started to say the F word, it's really
Mm,
gonna mess up the economy.
yeah.
Um,
I don't feel a market crash. I do feel like there's definitely going to be more drops in it. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. But also in the inflation rate with the trade wars, it's going to make everything a lot more expensive. Um, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's something that goes on super long term, but I do feel, you know, not a well, I guess technically a recession, but not like a crash. Slow growth.
okay, C Billy says, thank you for the 4.99. It'll go to Rush for
Mm.
oral cancer awareness. Hello, what do you see happening to Medicaid, Medicare? Oh, I just saw Dr. Oz was confirmed today. I don't know. I have
Oh,
not.
I hadn't heard that. Which we just read on it too, and both got that he would be.
Yeah, we
So,
just read on it. He'll try to mess with Medicaid, um, but they might raise prices for Medicare
mhm,
uh, and the ceiling on prescription drugs. But but remember, they just can't do that right away. It'll take a year or two to take effect.
mhm,
So by that time, Trump will be gone. And I don't see Oz in that position for a really long time.
yeah. Well, I got 5 of Cups, so he definitely wasn't celebrating being in that position. There was a grief or a loss there. I
Um,
do feel like they're going to make some cuts, though.
okay.
It doesn't feel like it's gutting the whole program or 800 million or billion that they were talking about. Um, but I do feel like some cuts to Medicaid. But I don't see them touching Social Security, and I feel like Medicare will be all right.
JC says people say 45 is purposely crashing the economy so the small farms go bankrupt and big agri will buy them cheap as well as other businesses. He's purposely doing this with tariffs and with the economy because he can create chaos and then they can come in and some of his rich people and invest in a lot of this stuff and make buku money. Uh, so it's clearly JC being done on purpose. It's not for the American people, like he
Mhm.
says. It's I see it's being done on purpose. What do you see,
Oh,
Kevin?
I agree. Yeah. I don't know about, I mean, I would not be surprised if they're trying to crash the economy to buy up, the agriculture. But like I said, too, they cause that uncertainty there, then they can go and buy it cheap and sell it off with a major profit.
There you go. All right. Uh, Iris Power says, "Hi Mel, I'm so happy that you're okay. Thanks, Iris. Please go to Peru. Oh, I'm going to Peru. Uh, there you go. Thanks for the plug, Iris. You win a free
Mm.
session. How's that? Free half-hour session. Call my office at the number below, but make sure everybody hit thumbs up on Kevin's channel,
Oh, thank you.
thumbs up on my channel. Call Kevin for, are you doing readings, Kevin, or are you doing your Reiki?
I'm not doing readings. I'm focusing in on my Reiki. I do have a reading and Reiki combo package, but I've been focusing a lot on my classes. So I just
Okay.
finished up 2 classes for March, and I have 2 more classes in May that I'm looking forward to.
And if you want a reading from me, call the number listed below. And if you're interested in Peru or Iceland, call below. I'll guarantee one thing, you'll have the fun time of your life. You'll have a lot of fun on my trips. So
It's going to be a good time.
She says, JD Couch, do you see him in prison? Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. What do you think, Kevin?
I don't know about prison, but I kind of feel like his political career is over. It feels like there's shame, like a dark cloud around him. I don't know, but I feel some trouble. There'll be lawsuits there. I just don't know about serving prison time.
Thanks, Becky. I'll let everybody read that. And thank you, Becky. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's one from Teresa, $9.99. Thank you. Here's one from Rich. So glad you're doing better. I hope you get to Peru. I'm going to Peru. My partner and I wish you continued healing. Thank you. Go Canada. I see a Canadian flag there.
Lots of love that was being sent your way when you weren't feeling well, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciated that. I don't see anything else start, and we've been on about an hour.
Yeah.
So, Kevin,
we covered a lot, and it went by really quickly, didn't it?
Went by
It
fast.
feels like a half an hour.
So, Kevin, if they want to take your classes, how do they do so?
Well, you can go to my website, kevinslovingvibrations.com. My classes in May are filled up right now, but I'll post more information when I have more, probably end of summer, early fall. But if you'd like, you can send me an email at kevinlovingvibrations@gmail.com if you want to be put on the cancellation list. If I have an opening for my May class, we can do that. Or like I said, I'm offering Reiki sessions. I have single or combo package. And then also like a reading and Reiki combination session as well on the website.
And to contact me, 847-590-5411 or go to meldor.com. It's on my website, meldor.com, the trips. And also we have openings for readings. So give us a call.
Yeah.
All right. I know a lot of people got rescheduled, but we've got all those people rescheduled again. And here I am, and I'm back, and good.
It's good to have you back, my friend.
Next week, your channel.
Sounds good. We'll
All
see you there.
All right, everybody. Stay well. Don't let the fear stand in front of you and hold you back. Let it get behind you and push you forward.
Absolutely.
All right.
Love and blessings to everyone.
All right.